Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome to another video. I know this one is a little bit old, but I'm finally going to be going over the kind of backlog content we had on the channel, which is majority just Dragon Ball Heroes content. So I know it's not really relevant right now, so apologies if you're not really interested, but I'm going to be uploading these in kind of the highlight reel format we've been doing for some of the less hype units, like the general pool units that pick up Dokkan Awakenings and Easy A. So if you want to watch it, it's here. If not, then that's fine. I said I know it's not really relevant right now, but as always, if you have been enjoying the content, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe if you're new. All the support is very much appreciated. But we are starting this off with the Dokkan Awakening on the Vegeks into Super Saiyan Vegeks in the Fighting Legend Vegeta event. You know, with a strength type unit having type disadvantage in the final phase against SSB Vegeta, you know, having him lower defense, I kind of wanted to see how he handled himself here first. You know, typically when it comes to stacking units, or specifically attacking defense or defense units, I'll probably take them straight into the GT Goku event because I know they should be able to handle themselves in both of them. But as I said, I kind of wanted to test him here first, kind of test the waters, because of that type disadvantage in the final phase. And I have to say, I'm impressed. Like, I know he's already, you know, well built for a longer event anyway, like Goku and Vegeta event, because he stacks defense. But I was slightly more impressed than just the fact that he's stacked, which, don't get me wrong, is very useful. So we did run him on rotation majority of the time with the Super Saiyan Xeno Goku, because he did share a few links with him. The only thing that really does let this unit down in the entirety of his kit is mainly his link skills. Pretty much all of his link skills are just key links, barring two, which is Super Saiyan and Power Bestowed by God. But even Power Bestowed by God isn't the biggest boost. It only gives attack plus 5% performing a super attack. So in terms of his damage output is nothing really to write home about, and that's not even because of not getting the majority of his links off. He only has 2 attack links, and one of them only gives 5% on super attack. So he wouldn't have been doing that much more damage anyway. So that is one thing that's kind of annoying about him. I mean, I guess you'll never really struggle for key if you're getting the majority of these off, which isn't overly difficult. But in terms of like an actual link set, yeah, they're not the greatest. You know, Saiyan Lineage, Royal Lineage, Shocking Speed, Shattering the Limit, Fused Fighter, they're all key links. So yeah, so we weren't getting the most links off, but then again, I said we weren't missing out. It's not like we were struggling for key. It's not like we weren't supering. It's just his link set just isn't great. The two immediate things, which as I said, give him value. One, obviously the fact he stacks defense, which again immediately makes him a great candidate for the likes of Goku and Vegeta event, stacking defense. Typically those units are always going to be viable just for the fact you're able to get the stack off, you're able to get their defense up to a pretty decent, amount. They can tank basic attacks for double digits. They can tank super attacks quite well. They're able to handle themselves, even though they may not be the best, do the best damage. But they're able to handle themselves in this event if you need to use them or choose to use them. So immediately, he was good for this. I knew that. The extra value, and I think I said this when his Dokkan Awakening dropped, was the fact that the Potara category doesn't have that many amazingly defensive units. Like, for example, the LR Vegeta from year 5, defensively is decent. He's alright, especially once you get him fully going and built up, which you're going to be doing in the likes of Goku and Vegeta event, with it being a longer drawn out event. But he's not like, stacker level, do you know what I mean? So while defensively he's okay, Kefra's another one. She stacks defense, which is great, but then again, you need to be getting a decent amount of orbs, so she actually has a decent amount of base defense to work off of. Other than that, I mean, you have the LR Strength Goku and Vegeta, who the damage reduction is really nice, but even then, at some points, they're open to a bit of damage. The Vegetos, the Easy A Super Vegeta and Easy A Vegeto Blue, they're okay, but if they get super attacked, they will be taking a lot of damage. It's only normal attacks they're good to go for that damage reduction on the counter. But other than that, as I said, you don't really have too many, like, amazingly defensive units. Like your Ultimate Gohans, those type of units. The Potara category doesn't really have any of those, apart from Kefla, who then again, as I said, you need to be picking up a decent amount of orbs to actually have a decent amount of defense before she is even stacking. You know, just picking up an orb here and there with her stacking, her defense isn't going to be the greatest. So immediately that's some extra value on this Dokkan Awakening on the Super Saiyan Vegex, because he is a more defensive unit on the Potara category, or Potara category should I say, sorry, that there isn't just that much of. So even if you are missing some of the better units, he would be a decent option for like Goku and Vegeta event anyway. But even if you do have some of them, maybe to make the run a little bit easier or make sure you actually survive through it, while he won't be doing the most damage, but then you can leave the rest of the Potara units to do that, he'll offer some nice defensive coverage, which is, as I said, very good. I said the Potara category is lacking some actual like amazingly defensive units. So it is kind of a nice option to have if you need or want to use it, depending on how your box is looking. So in terms of the rest of his kit, as I said, his damage output, nothing to write home about. Even though he does raise his attack by 50% as an SA multiplier for 1 turn, gets the attack and defense plus 100%, gets an additional attack and defense plus 100%, he doesn't do the most damage. I will say that now, but that's probably not why you're going to be bringing him in the first place, but he doesn't do a whole bunch of damage. His damage output's okay, especially in the early phases. There, it's actually pretty decent. And don't forget as well, he does have a built-in crit chance, which stacks up to 50%, and he gets 10% each time. So after 5 super attacks, he does have a 50% crit chance, which, you know, if you have no dupes in him, which I don't, he's only at 55%, very useful. If you have dupes in him, you know, even more of a crit chance. For a lot of the time, he'll be critting, which is nice to have. But yeah, mine doesn't have any dupes in, and I wouldn't say his damage output would really be affected all too much if I did have dupes. Maybe like a, you know, maybe a little bit extra, but nothing, you know, ultimately noteworthy where I'd be like, oh, I really need dupes in him. So his damage output, as I said, in the early phases is quite nice, especially if you're hitting crits. He's hitting over 1 mil. The latter phases, the later you get into the event, he won't be doing as much damage. He'll be critting for like 1 mil, maybe 900k. You know, it's not bad, but it's not the worst. But as I said, you're not really bringing him for his damage. So, you know, hitting 900k to 1 mil crit in the final phases, not necessarily bad. It's chip damage worthy. It's not the best, but as I said, you're not really bringing him for that anyway. In terms of, you know, with the launching an additional super attack, of course, for the most part in this event, he won't be getting that off because the whole attack down, defense down, stunned or sealed. You know, you can't stun or seal here. At some points, you can't even lower attack and defense. So that is kind of here nor there. But as I said, his damage, nothing to write home about. Just a little bit of a, you know, a little bit extra in terms of, you know, chip damage, but you're not really bringing him for that. Anyway, he's here for the defense. Now, in terms of where the defense is concerned, obviously, immediately defensively, he is a nice unit to have because he stacks immediately. There you go. You know, stacking, that's what you're bringing him for, to stack defense. He's good at that. But one thing I did notice, right, was that, and as you even saw there, just over 200k defense. As we went into the SSBE phase, he was on about, in fact, even near the end of the SSBE phase, he only just broke into 300k defense. Now, while that isn't the highest, do remember this: Dragon Ball Heroes units, typically their base stats are a little bit lower than some of the other units in the game. That's just how they are, you know, they're not Dokkan Fest, they're not LRs. They're going to have a little bit less on stats, so that's probably why his defense wasn't where I would usually expect a unit that stacks defense to be. You know, even without some units additionaling, they will typically be on 300k as you go into the the final phase of like Goku event, or the SSBE event, or sorry, the Vegeta event, or like 300 to 350k, whereas going into it, I think Vegex had about 280k, maybe a little bit less, and by almost the end of it is when he had 300k defense. So his defense goes up steadily, and as I said, that's probably something to do with, one, I don't have dupes in him, but it won't make too much of a difference, only a little bit, you know, an extra, you know, 10-20k maybe. But ultimately, as I said, the Dragon Ball Heroes units do have less stats, so do take that into consideration. But even so, throughout the entire event, you know, he was tanking double digits on a basic, which is, you know, fantastic. You can't ask for more, really. On a super attack, I mean, this one he has type advantage, so I think he only done, what, 11k? Is it 11k? Okay, no, he took 106. To be fair, he did get super attacked prior to supering himself, but that's neither here nor there. But no, that is actually even though there, because he does get an extra attack and defense plus 100% on super. So that would have done considerably less if he supered first. And I don't know if this happened yet, or if it's going to happen soon. He does actually get super attacked on this phase again with the type advantage, but after he supers, which only does 11k. Now that additional attack and defense plus 100% on super is very important. And for some reason, I didn't forget that he had it. I knew that he had it. But for some reason, in my mind, when I was doing the run, I only really applied it to when he was doing damage rather than his defense. Now, when it comes to Dokkan and like the ins and outs of like the intricacies of the numbers and how much it's multiplied by and the statistics, you know, the finer details of like the numbers these units are putting out, I'm not really the guy. Lucky enough on the Dokkan Battle Wiki, which I highly advise you go on sometimes if you need to look at certain things and the actual details of multipliers and boosts they're getting like in detail, you should really go on it. It's helpful. So on the details tab, so the Super Saiyan Vegex has been stacking the entire time. He's not even on 300k defense going into the SSBE phase. On his passive, he gets attack and defense plus 120%, and on super, or when performing a super attack, he gets an additional attack and defense plus 100%. So with his defense sitting around about 280k going into the 300k mark, and then super attacking before he gets hit against, you know, SBE, who does have type advantage, he gets that additional attack and defense plus 100%. Now, if I scroll down on the wiki, that boost is his additional boost when performing a super attack is calculated separately for a total of attack and defense plus 340% when performing a super attack. So typically, I mean, when I see passives, I know that more numbers and more percentages and the higher numbers on top of even more numbers typically means good things, okay? But that is the actual like intricacy of his attack and defense plus 100% performing a super attack is attack and defense plus 340%. So, is it happening now? Is it this super attack? All I know is it happens soon. No, it's not. All I know is soon the SSB Vegeta will super attack him. Prior going into that super attack, I was a little bit worried. I was like, he has type advantage. We won't die because we've been stacking, but this will probably do quite a bit of damage considering, you know, at this point, he's only just gotten to 300k, you know, and we've only, you know, and we've almost finished the entire event. But then I completely forgot, as I said, that attack and defense plus 100% being applied to his defense after he supers. So not only at that point was he sitting on literally, I think, just over the 300k mark, right? Yeah, literally just over 300k, 308k defense, which is still pretty good. But, you know, typically you want it around about the 400k mark, 450k mark to like actually feel safe. You know what I mean? So after he super attacks, not only does he have a little bit extra on the defense, you know, a little bit more than 308k, I don't know the exact amount, but a little bit more than that. But he then has attack and defense plus 340% applied to his both attack and defense. But I said I forgot it was applied to his defense, and that's the exact number. So on top of the 300k defense, he had attack and defense plus 340% applied to his defense, and that's why he only took 150k. I thought it was going to be way more than that. And I forgot that was applied to the defense throughout the entire event, which is why he was tanking so well. Like, granted, he would tank double digits on a basic anyway, but I forgot that's why he was tanking so well, even with the type disadvantage against the SSB Vegeta. So defensively, he is very, very good, even if he stacks up, you know, very steadily, even though you can kind of draw that out if you want to. But that's going to end up the video. We finished the event. As I said, he's an amazing defensive unit, especially for that defensive coverage on the Potara category, which there's not a lot of, but good nonetheless. But I'll see you next video, guys. And as always, peace.